Last time on The Empire's Edge.
And you guys know where Enda Nur is? Looking to talk to her. Well, who's the head of the other side?
She smiles. What do you have in mind?
A double cross.
You're talking about a direct assault on the Veda Library simultaneously with a direct assault on the Rhazia Tower.
You have big animals in this circus, don't you? Somebody's releasing them.
Wow, that's a lot more damage.
He is again going for Enda Nur.
Wow. You know, say what you want about this guy. He's dedicated.
This was against you, Inda. They were coming after you. The cats were just a distraction. I'm sure of it.
He looks up at you, and he's obviously startled. And he looks over at Enda Nur, and she's still there. And you can see that there is a kind of a resignation on his face. And he recognizes that things are very bad for him because it is quite certain that he is with the Rhazia Wizards. So everyone is dusting like straw off of themselves. You have this guy bound up.
It's like not him. He's all tied up. He can't dust himself off.
Right, he can't dust himself off.
I'll lay on hands Enda while I'm thinking about it.
Okay, how much more do you have left you can do?
25 hit points.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Dang,
So-
that's a lot of healing.
Yeah, that puts her right back. Yeah, she wasn't injured that badly. But when she nods to that same Sarvapon that always seems to be nearby, and when she gives a nod to him, he seems to understand almost immediately and straightens the guy up. I think they have to loosen his bonds a little bit, but straightens him up so they can take him somewhere.
Yeah, straightening up would strangle him as he was when I left him.
And takes him right over to one of the big cat cages, and they brush aside a bunch of straw.
Is there a cat in there?
No, they open up a door under it.
Oh, ooh.
And go down, and then close it back over their heads, and she kicks some more straw back over it.
Nice.
And
They weren't inviting us to with? Oh, come on.
So once that happens, she turns back to kind of the three of you. We can't say a whole lot right now. Just there was an accident, animals got out, and that's the whole story.
Fair enough.
The people that know what's happened will be looking for their operative, but I'll interrogate him and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. We'll find out what information.
Before we go,
can.
are you in?
I'm in.
Good.
Inda, I'd like to offer you this amulet. We found it on our travels. It could help provide you some extra protection. This was targeted towards you. You're going to need extra protection.
I've been thinking about that. She reaches out her hand to the gift and doesn't seem to know how to react to it. Actually, go ahead and roll your a d20. What would that be? That's not
Persuasion.
Persuasion. Thank you.
I rolled a natural 20.
Oh, wow.
Of course you did, yeah. So she accepts it and doesn't really smile, doesn't really nod. I think she's so used to playing her emotions so close to herself, so closed, that to have a gift from someone that way, you can have people that are allies, but she's not used to that. But then it does seem as though you can see through that facade of hers. And then she finally does say thank you. But you believe that no one's ever done something quite like that for her. And she looks at it again and says, and what's the history? Where did this come from?
We found it in our travels.
That was Shepton, right?
Yeah, we liberated it from a wizard's house in Shepton.
He was dead.
And it will... do I want to read it?
No, that's okay.
It's magic. Here
But
you go.
it'll benefit her.
It'll benefit you.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
The command word is whatever the command word is.
Yeah, you just touch it. You just touch it, and it'll recharge unless you touch it 4 times.
And then she said, thank you. That's very gracious. And she puts it in a pocket at this point. But you can tell that there's a different kind of a bond, that she was really surprised by that, and it really meant something to her.
I'm glad that we all have our connections with Enda.
Well, yours is the awkward.
Yeah, you're trying to have a connection with Enda.
Thanks.
And we'll get back to you tomorrow. Are you heading back to your
We'll
own
probably head
residence?
out for the day.
All right. Then she turns and just heads between a couple of those coverings, those tarps that are set up like tents.
Screens.
And she moves off in a direction. And right about at the same time, more people are walking in. They're inquiring. They're talking. What's happened? Gone on? We have all the animals? And there's just a lot of murmur as people are moving through the area.
Yeah, so kind of moving with crowd will withdraw for the day.
And there's a lot of talk that it looks like people are just thinking it must have been, in a way, part of the show. Go ahead and roll insights all around, just if you can gauge anything else from the people that are here.
Ooh. That's been a while.
Yeah, right.
21.
13.
11.
Jacob, you are very aware as you guys move out of this area that was really a sleeping area for the people that live and work with the circus, that you're out to one of the side fairways, and as you're heading toward the next one, there's a person who is not dressed like a mercenary, not like a Zrek. He's not a Rhazia Wizard. Just looks dressed like any other workaday person from Karn Keldley, but you can tell he's searching for something that he is not finding. He's looking for something, and it's not there.
No, discreetly point that out. I was like, I think he's looking for our friend, and kind of nod over to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not unsheathing sword, but ready to grab in case things go sideways again.
Do we want to walk like adjacent to him, towards him, see if he does anything?
Let's keep an eye on him for as long as we can. Let's
We're not
try and draw
taking business.
Not when I can't pass him off to somebody else really fast.
It's true. Yeah.
All right. So as he's passing, he looks and he makes eye contact with each one of you, one to the next to the next. And again, with those insight rolls, who had above a 14 on those last ones we just did?
David.
Two of us.
So just Jacob.
I had a 13.
Oh, okay. So again, Jacob, it's just you. You believe that this guy recognizes, he knows who the three of you are. Like he's been given some sort of information intelligence. But then plays it off, puts his eyes straight.
It's time to stab him in a crowd. That way no one will know who we are.
Exactly. My thoughts to a T. But
then he just passes, but doesn't just keep staring at you, but he knows that.
He registers us.
Yeah, he registers you guys,
doing the same thing when he passes by, keeping an eye on him still. What direction is he walking in?
In the direction of where the whole confusion, all the animals being loose, was taking place.
And as he passes us, does he like look over his shoulder? Is he staring at us, expecting us to like be?
How long do you wait before you turn to look to see if he does?
10 seconds, maybe.
Let's do
maybe
that
around.
Let's do that as opposed your perception versus his deception.
Natural 20.
Oh, dang God! 16. What's your adjusted?
24.
20. That was my adjusted.
Yeah.
So that you guys get to the end of the small fairway, you get to the main fairway, and just the way that you stop to turn to look to see, while we're right here, let's just buy a glass of wine or a beer or something.
I was genuinely going to suggest that.
A corn dog.
That as you're standing right there, Jacob, you position yourself so that peripherally you can look in the direction of the small fairway you just came out of, and he makes a point to turn around, and you see him looking to see what you three are doing, but you don't believe that he's aware of the fact that you've spotted him just the way you made a point to position yourself.
Gotcha, yeah. So just continuing with my direction that I'm facing while Boris and Zelen are purchasing food, drinks, whatnot. And so just kind of sitting there for a second, continuing the conversation and seeing if he does anything more than just stare at us or finally goes on a direction or anything changes in his demeanor. Not
until he's just leaning on a wagon at this point. But then once the three of you start moving again, then he breaks off and heads back in the direction of where the actual combat took place last a few minutes ago.
Well, I trust that the hatch that they put that guy down into is reasonably secure.
Trust circus folk to secure circus folk.
Yeah, and I would trust them to know their own and not allow him access to places he's not.
You would actually have to go on all fours and crawl under one of those wagons.
That hatch, was it into the ground? Or?
Right, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. All right, yeah. I'm certain that they have this well handled.
Yeah. They were prepped for this.
So I guess somebody said they got a corn dog. I don't think they've been invented yet.
And a funnel cake.
Right. The funny cake.
Fried dough.
I'll say funnel cakes did exist. Yeah. All right. So
alcohol, I think, is a lot more reliable to purchase than anything.
Then I'm going to invent something.
It's probably
wonderful.
Expensive.
If they're not sitting there, I'm going to take one of the sausages that definitely exist and just dip it in the funnel cake batter.
I want a copper for every
exactly
silver piece that is sold in these. I know of a stake in the
Next
corn dog
game.
Tacos, right? Then, so with drinks in hand, you head back to the main gate area.
Yep.
All right, and then once you're outside, you can see the runner. One's been shadowing you. The other one's with the horses, and they bring him up.
Okay, awesome.
Wait, one's been shadowing us? What did he do in the fight?
Didn't get killed.
Yeah, hung back.
Yeah,
fair.
Which one was it?
Tim stayed with the horses.
I gotcha. Okay, so
Bob.
Redawning, my nice arrows that I really wish I had before, even though,
they technically wouldn't have
wouldn't have done anything either. But yeah, put on the arrows, hop on the horse.
Yeah.
We just going back to the Wild House?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
All right, so by this time, when you get back up there, it's probably somewhere close to around 3 in the afternoon. then do you guys just want to hang out here, stay here, and then rest and recover, regain spells, whatnot?
Did we have anything else that we wanted to do today, or did we have something that we had to do tonight? Because we're not doing.
Not that I recall.
I have part 2 of a competition tomorrow morning, and then we have interrogations
tomorrow at noon. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we have results of interrogations.
Hopefully. Yeah.
True. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. We're not going to be part of the interrogation. She's just, she's doing the heavy lifting for us.
Yeah. Because we beat the guy down.
How polite.
Well, it's an even split.
Yeah. Then I say I'm going to go ahead and mark a long rest on my sheet unless anyone stops me.
Yeah. No. Tend to gear. I've got nothing really I want to cast. I think nosing around the Veda library right now would be a tactical error.
Yeah, I would advise against that.
So once you guys get to the Roth house, and again, it's the same exchange, horses, you have your runner, take them back over, Tim's just sitting on the stairs waiting for you guys, and, he has a shift that goes by with that. But as you guys go inside, and not all at once or at the same time necessarily, but at certain points you're gonna see the very staff that are around there, and Carl Woodvane, you're gonna bump into Carl. That do an insight, each one of you, on Carl as you're seeing him.
Oh, not as good as a 20.
17.
10.
Yeah, that's half as good.
20. Unnatural 20.
So both Boris and Zelen, and we'll say it's at different times, an hour apart, and you've not been just talking to each other, you've had some space to yourself, that there's something he's hiding, that he's concerned about something, but obviously you don't know what it is.
Has anything been changing about the staff at Roth House, or has it been pretty much the same people? Have new people come to work here, or it's only been a few days, but
any of them wearing a pointy wizard hat,
I was
or
gonna say,
an empty ring, holy symbol?
Yeah,
no,
do you recognize anyone?
It would seem that it's been the same people.
Okay.
Whatever kind of rotation of shifts they do.
And I like to point out, it's really cool how organized all these street urchin kids are, running in shifts. When you made that comment, I'm like,
business.
Yeah. They go in there, it's like, hey, it's my shift, and they send the next guy home, I'm here to relieve you, kind
punch
of
card.
They install a punch card on the front steps.
Punch card. They have scars. Boop.
They just walk in, thunk, just punch in the card, and then lay down on the stone.
Do either of you act on that, or you just ignore it, figuring he has a lot to do to take care of his household?
Something on your mind, Carl?
He looks up a little startled, and right now it's just the two of you in the downstairs main hallway. And he says, Sir Kirsanov, there are things that I couldn't share with you or couldn't say to you, but there's much happening in the city. And obviously, the three of you are at the center of what's happening, but your actions are acting as catalysts, and there are things moving everywhere. Balances of power are being tipped, moved, shifted, and I'm not sure where the city is going.
I'd prefer you to be open with me then.
Tomorrow. I'd be able to share much more with you tomorrow. And he pauses and just looks at you and says, my superiors need to meet with you first.
Ooh.
I see. I assume then a meeting has already been arranged?
That is outside my cell's knowledge.
I see. Carry on.
And he continues on toward his office.
I track down the two of them, toot sweet, and go, okay, this just happened.
Okay. I want to go out front to, because I just remembered something. I want to go out front to whichever kid is on the steps right now.
Right.
Bob, Tim, Asher, whatever his name was. And hand him two silver, because I want to get word back to Tide up at the palace Boyer.
Right.
And just see, because I remember I asked him about working in gemstones into the tips of arrows.
Right.
And since we've now been given some of those, and it's starting to come into actual possibilities of happening, I want to send go talk to Tide at the palace, ask him if he's made any progress with my special project for him, and just hand him the 2 silver and just say, give me a word as soon as you can. And
he gives a little sailor salute, a little curled finger to the center of his forehead, and then runs up the street.
Cool.
You just paid him and he flipped you the bird, man.
Right? God, I can never win with these kids. How do I reach these kids?
It was as deferential as he could make it.
More money and
I thought 2 silver was a lot.
That was really good.
Okay.
It was a good day for him. All right, so it will be in the middle of the night that there is a knock on your door, Jacob. Everyone's gone to bed unless you had something else you're working on. But there's a knock on your door. and it is like the nighttime butler.
I got you.
The person who's on staff. There's always somebody to greet there. And he says, "My apologies, Lord Treadstone, but there is a runner that has information.
Right.
There's a runner that has information for you."
And I go downstairs, excited for the news.
And you're looking around. He's not in a parlor or anything. And apparently the butler wouldn't let the guy into the house.
Yeah.
Afraid he'd take some spoons or something.
I don't blame him.
When you go outside, you can see that there is that Bob and Tim, and there was Asher, and there was one other guy too.
There was only Bob and Tim.
Yeah,
Asher's
originally.
a new one.
And no, Asher was just a name that popped into my head. Yeah, Tim, Bob, and Leo.
Leo, that's right. But there is a fourth one there. It seems like he's pulled in all of his closest friends, and Tim is right there, and he is holding something kind of wrapped up into his cloak, and the others are all about him in a circle facing outward with knives out. That you've never seen these guys like this before. And then as you come out, you can see that Tim looks just downright relieved, no roll necessary. And he steps forward quickly and hands you a capped quiver.
Ooh, that is so cool.
I was told to protect this with my very life until I give it to you. And then as the other guys turn toward him, he nods, and both Leo and Asher run off. And then he says to Bob, "Stables," like that. And then Bob runs off too. And he just, again, little bow, "My lord." And he takes his spot on the step, sits down, and curls himself back up.
Oh, again. Absolutely. Yeah, he's getting a tip for that. So if I don't know if I'm wearing like my nightgown, I was like, oh crap, hold on.
My nightgown.
Run back inside, whatever, and just like grab like 2 more silver and hand them to him.
About you today.
Hey, I like to be comfortable when I'm sleeping. No,
they're breezy.
Easy breezy, beautiful. All right, yeah. No, that's fantastic. And after I go back inside, I open it up immediately.
So he says, there's a note that's inside, and it says, "I have more to work on, but I had these ready." And there are six of those feathers that have the amethyst points all set and ready for you.
Feathers with amethyst points?
No, did I say feathers?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the tips made of amethyst points. They were the owl feather fletched arrows, and they have amethyst points on them.
Oh, that is so cool.
Nice.
Okay, yep. My sheet over here with the things that I'm keeping track of is just getting even more like
complicated
and weird. Rhazia tokens, glands, stingers, owl arrows, other arrows.
I've got the Rhazia tokens.
Oh, you have them all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought we each took 2.
Oh, yes, we did. Never mind.
We'll put those back on my sheet.
Owl, bear, liver. Doesn't somebody still have that somewhere?
I don't remember.
No, the only thing. It wasn't an owl bear. It was a regular bear, and it was the cage in its heart.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, and I think you have that.
No, I took it out and broke it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we smashed it to pieces. Yeah, but no, you said 6 of the arrows.
6 of them. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Yep, and I
immediately wake up Zelen, make a magic.
Oh man, I would, but no, it'd just be it's middle of the night. You said that would just that'd just be rude. No, I put them with my wherever.
If you want them to be magic, though, wake me up because then I could go back to sleep.
Oh, that's right. How your spells work, you get the okay. You know what? Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Rapping at her chamber door.
Well, pause. They take longer because we actually wrote down how they work.
Oh, that's right.
It's not just cast thing and done.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it wouldn't be for tomorrow then.
No, it needs some downtime.
But no, so I will.
But maybe I could fill them with produce flame.
That would be amazing. Yeah, so won't worry about those at this exact moment. I'll just put them wherever I'm keeping my owl arrows safe. And
okay. And then back to bed. All right, good. So you wake up the next morning refreshed, meals laid out, you guys serve yourself, have food, and it's a couple hours until the archery contest.
So Boris, if I could talk strategy with you, there's two different spells I can prepare. One is a shield spell that will protect me from something coming at me. The other is something that will help me if I fall. Which do you think would be better for me to prepare? If I fall, if I do the one that protects me from falling, I could climb, use my spider climb, that kind of stuff, and be in less danger.
Right. I'd personally go with shield.
Yeah.
That's a more immediate protection than like an insurance policy against something you might do.
Okay.
That if we are in a fight, you're more likely to just be attacked than you are to fall.
Is there anything else that you want me to consider as...
detect magic is really useful to have.
We have those in the stones, so we're good with that.
Okay.
I think you have it in the stones. You gave us
have it in the stones,
Thorn Whip, Longstrider, and Produce Flame.
We've got a limited supply of those because of the rewrite.
We did rewrites on those.
No, but wait a minute. I didn't know that we eliminated the ones that I'd already done. I thought it was...
Okay, so David, you need to cut this.
Yeah. yeah, we now know how this works. We fixed it.
So, Zellum, when it comes to strategizing, what did you want to work out as far as what spells you wanted to have ready?
I really just wanted to check with Boris to make sure that there isn't anything else based on what we're heading into. We know now that there's somebody in the crowd watching for us. We know somebody was after Inda. So I just wanted to check with him to see if is there something else you'd like me to do before we head out?
I don't know enough about what we're going into specifically to be able to prepare against it. So I think just a general spread of spells is the best call.
Okay, so it's I'm going to have the same prep today that I did yesterday going in.
Sounds good.
And then whenever I do eventually come downstairs, I'll show off the new arrows to everyone and show them the things that I had tied work up at the palace, specifically kind of inching towards like Zellen's like look how cool those are. Yeah, think you could do something like that, and so I'll just
very cool.
Exactly. So I have no technical use for them right now, so actually I'll pass them on to her and see where she wants to keep them for the time being. Because
I mean, I can put them up in my room.
Yeah, at the house. Okay.
So imbue them at your leisure.
She breaks them into small pieces
so
and puts
fit
them into the little safe by her bed.
And my heart with it.
And then, so when you guys are ready to go, you call for horses. The guys bring them. It's been a quiet night otherwise.
So I'm going to wear my armor today. I didn't wear my armor yesterday. I was dressed like a lady, but that wear thing could have gotten me. So I'm wearing my flippin' armor today.
Okay, so
I mean, wouldn't your armor class have been the same if you had done your bark skin?
If I did my bark skin,
yeah,
but then I would lose time.
Yeah.
Then you guys are all ready. You're accoutrate as your adventuring selves, and you ride horses down to the outside of the gate, and then you hand horses off, and you pay to go back inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to pay again, yeah. Or do I have to pay again, or do I?
No, you never had to pay.
Yeah,
yeah. You're taken to the side tent.
I go to my special entrance for people
led
that don't
over
have
direction.
To pay.
Yeah, for people who paid up front.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And again, it's
the cast entrance.
It's half the group. So all those that were eliminated in yesterday's round. So there's only a dozen of you in there right now. Another whole dozen of number of people were eliminated from the competition yesterday. So again, it's a different tone. That is, you're there talking with people and you're seeing them. In a way, Lark and Silk seems even larger than life because there's fewer people that are around there. That Jack Hawley seems somehow telegraphed that he's so happy in a larger way because there's so few other people in there. But there's also a tone that there's like something else going on. It's as though they almost have a tone of expectancy. So they're a little more muted as they're talking too. It's
interesting.
It's a weird thing as you're walking into it.
Is anyone currently in a conversation with Bolt?
Let me find out.
Because I would like to be, if not.
No one is talking to Bolt at this moment.
I'll approach him if he didn't seem like, because in our brief conversation with him, he didn't seem too threatening. So I want to go over and shake his hand and just say, good morning.
Well, as you walk over to him, he changes his stance where he was just like, just standing to one side of the tent. As you come toward him, he turns completely toward you, like he's very aware that you're approaching his direction. And you hold out his hand, you hold out your hand, and he does the same. He receives your hand, shakes your hand, and he says, well, good morning to you too.
Anyone would have recognized the welcoming that you had as soon as your name was announced yesterday. But I have to say, not being from this area, I'm not aware of the weight your name carries. Can you tell me why was everyone so in shock and awe when they heard your name?
He looks a little surprised himself, and he says, well, you need to go out and ask the people why they believe and think what they believe. For me, like most men that do not seek fame at all, it's surprising that there is a reception like that. I must admit I was slightly taken aback. I'm just a simple archer that enjoys hunting.
You must have won your fair share of competitions, at least.
I've won competitions in the past, but I put much more importance on the quality of the shot, whether I'm shooting that target, but most typically in my life, if I'm harvesting game.
Well said. If you had to pick one of your best competitions, what would you say the one that you're most proud of, or that you think was your best? What was your best game? Was your best shot?
And he says, in a long time ago, in a city that is now destroyed, there was once a competition, and I did very well in that one. It was one of my first, and it let me know that I wanted to do much, much more with the art of archery?
A destroyed city. Well, I'm one for history. Do you know the name? Do you remember the name?
He says, I remember the name.
And insight, I'm guessing he doesn't want to tell me? Or
You can roll it. Sure.
I'm going to roll it?
I rolled that.
I think I know what it is. Natural 18, 20, I think 20.
You are
22.
positive he does not want to tell you that.
Because David thinks Jacob thinks it's Sarntar Azul. I don't remember how old that city was. It's the only destroyed city we've gone through. I know. And he is Villaman?
He is a Villaman.
Yeah.
So long lived, but maybe not that long lived.
I know, but
there's probably in other cities that that is the information that Boris has brought back.
Looking for the similarities and like the full circle kind of stuff.
Right.
I wanted to be Sarntar Azul because he's talking about destroyed cities.
Does he look like any of the?
I've been to one of those.
Does he look like any of like the busts in
Shades of Violet in his features?
In the Kremlin Protectorate, there were certainly other cities that people don't even know where they are right now. It could be that this town of Karn Keldley was one of them.
Could I roll over that insight to maybe see, like, based on why he doesn't want to tell me? Is it maybe because it's on the wrong side of the war or something to that effect of, like, a reasoning behind it?
And what was your number you rolled?
22.
Yeah, you think that he might have the same prejudice against you that you're a nobleman. And he simply just doesn't want to tell you too much because he doesn't know where you fall with information.
Except for when you shouldn't.
I know.
And you do know that he seems to be a very particular friend of Lark and Silk.
Exactly.
And you know that Lark and Silk is against everything that the Duke does bringing these noblemen in.
Yeah. No, so I'll thank him for the conversations. Like, thank you so much. I don't want to take any more of your time. I know, at least for me, it's good to get in the proper headspace before going out and doing these competitions. So I thank you again.
Before you turn away, he holds out his hand.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, good luck, Jacob Treadstone.
And to you, although I don't think you need it.
He nods his head and turns and goes to talk to somebody else.
Cool. That wasn't as productive as I was hoping it was
going
to be.
Is that somebody else, Silk?
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's somebody else's Silk.
Yeah, probably.
He goes over to Lark and Silk.
The one guy he talks to.
How did Silk, was Silk responding at all? Or like, did I see anything about him like glancing over at us while I was talking to his buddy?
He hasn't shot you yet, so call that a success.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
well, because all of your perceptions and insights were just so high that, you were aware that the moment you addressed Bolt, the Lark and Silk just disengaged the conversation he was in and was just standing at a little distance, waiting to see what you're going to do.
So it actually was an accomplishment that I wasn't just shot.
A little bit, yeah. He does have a bow and an arrow, a few arrows with him. But then as those
my
two,
hands for the next 5 minutes,
as those two just walk a few feet away, because the tent really isn't all that big, Jack Holly walks over and he's like, what was that all about?
Yeah, if I'm going to be completely honest, Jack, I'm not quite sure. It seems like everyone's out to get me ever since I got this title. Now, that being said, it's a wonderful achievement, but at this point, it almost feels like more of a curse than a blessing. Talking to him, I was trying to see if I could figure out anything about him because everyone was in such an uproar as soon as his name was announced. Do you know anything about him? Like why everyone knows his name?
Bolt? Yeah, I've only found out that he's some kind of local folk hero, that everyone treats him like he's like a god or something, that he's a person of a previous order of the city, or like all the grandparents know who he is, and that's how things used to be. And they look at him as being a representative of a different time.
That corroborates a bit of the conversation I just had with him, what with winning a competition in a since destroyed and decrepit city. So,
and again, and Holly be like, whoa, what city? Where's that? What's he talking about?
I wish I knew.
And he's all questions.
If you think you had a better chance at getting the information from him, I would welcome you to go and continue my conversation.
I don't know. He seems nice guy, but that Lark and Silk kind of scares me. But if I find anything else out while I'm here, I'll tell you anything I can find out.
Rightfully so. I'm told, and I've experienced myself, Lark and Silk is rather of an intimidating person. So do your best to stay on his good sides. That's exactly what I'm trying to do in this competition, is to prove that I'm not what he thinks noblemen are.
I keep forgetting that you are. Sorry, Sir Jacob.
And I thank him for trying, and I say, please never do that again.
All right. Best of luck, friend.
Thank you.
And then at about the same time, you're being summoned out onto the field itself.
Okay.
And again,
they announce everyone's names again, and I hear boo. More boos this time.
Yeah, one is definitely me. No, but friends.
Again, they do introduce people by their rank.
Okay.
And again, it's Yang Bontil that's master ceremonying all this thing, and he does bring the people out. So you are probably the last person, and I think there's Sir Alan Farnsworth, and there's Lady Shanta Morehouse, and then Sir Jacob Treadstone. So you would be the third person announced, and there is a lot of cheering, but you do get the residual. Who needs ya?
When I do come out though, is there anything now, knowing that there is a direct connection between Yang Bontil and the Rhazia Wizards? Is there any way about how they're reacting, listening to him speaking? Like, are there hidden messages in what he's saying, or
pointing a wand at you?
Do an investigation. You're listening to this.
Lightning bolt parts your hair.
That is another natural 20.
Nice. these green dice that he has, it's just amazing. We were playing in just a different campaign yesterday,
and he rolls
he was
hot.
He was rolling. It was just incredible.
Yeah. First dice I ever bought, I've kept up with them, and they've been taking good care of me.
Loyalty.
Where'd you buy them?
Amazon.
Plug.
Just
Amazon. They don't need a plug.
Yeah, right? I think they're just regular old Chessex, just the green translucent dice. Yeah. No, I paid like $6 for them, but they have more than outweighed their cost. Yeah, 22.
When it turns out they're so cheap that the 20-sider is like out of balance, and it always rolls a 20.
Oh no, I've rolled my fair share of natural ones.
I know.
But yeah, 22 adjusted.
That you don't get that there's secret messages, like they have a code being communicated, but the way you're listening to it with the new ear, it is like it's totally geared toward the edification of the Rhazia Wizards, how they've improved the city, and all this is happening for their greater good, and thanks to them.
I don't remember if it was Victor or Victor said it as Boris, when it's like nothing in it's always a performance, nothing's accidental in a performance, that he was shifting and aiming himself towards the Wizards the entire time.
And he's still that most of the time. He turns the other way, but for the most part, he is almost consistently directing all of his conversation and announcements to the Rhazia Wizards,
which makes more sense
pavilion.
Now. Looking around at the people who are at the front of the crowd, who've made their way so they could be adjacent to the field, do I recognize the guy that we saw yesterday?
Go ahead and do. I think that would be. It's either a perception or investigation. I think the way investigation
Probably
is corroborating.
Perception.
Let's go with perception. Yeah.
So I'm looking upfield. She's looking midfield. I think you need to look at the cheap sheets downfield.
I look at the cheap sheets.
Did I say cheap sheets?
Yeah.
The thread count is very
17.
low.
So the guy that passed all of you in the small fairway yesterday, you don't see in your immediate area, but as you're looking, you do notice a couple of people you've seen consistently from yesterday, maybe even around the city. But then a number of people away, you see a face that seems very, very familiar to you. And what was your roll on that?
17.
You see the face of a man that you haven't seen in a long, long time. And you are trying to pull up his name at this moment, and you realize it's a guy named Beckett Reed.
Beckett Reed.
And when you I'm guessing you actually say that, an old lady right next to you says, "Hush, hush, Mr. Sage needs to remain in the shadows."
Whoa.
Do an intelligence roll.
Since I'm standing right there, can I do that too?
Yeah, sure.
That's a 16 for an 18.
That's a 15 for a something.
You had
That's a 15 for a math number.
You had it at the 15.
Oh, okay. I don't know what you're supposed to add to that.
You pull up
your intelligence modifier.
You pull up the name once you hear her say Mr. Sage, and you realize that Beckett Reed, a person that you yourself named Mr. Sage, is the druid that rescued you from the salt merchants 15 years ago.
I want to go talk to Mr. Sage.
But he needs to remain in the shadows. Do I realize this about Zellen's backstory?
You probably realize something, that she's had an emotional reaction, that her face just made a certain something.
Boris leads over and says, "Didn't you listen to last episode?"
And he has noticed you. And then the moment he's made eye contact with you, he just looks away, looks in a different direction, like he's ready for the archery contest to begin.
Okay.
But he's not moved away.
But he hasn't moved away, but he isn't moving towards me. What's the older lady beside me, or the old lady beside me? What's she doing? Is she...
She's watching
making
the contest.
sure my sword is loose in its sheath.
So I think you would make sure that you would still keep the same perception rolls. That you realize she's talking to somebody that's on the other side of her, and this person she's talking to, they're talking nonstop about. It's in a whisper voice. I make it sound like she's being so outgoing, but she's talking about Larkin Silk, and she's talking about different things involving technique, about shooting, and everything else. That you think that she might be somebody that's close to Silk.
Around here, we like to knit with arrows.
Technique!
I don't think it's an accident, though, that she's standing right beside me.
That could be. Jacob, as you're being walked on to...
Cast Moonbeam on her.
Yeah, Jacob, you're walking on, and again, you can't help it. You glance over to where you know Zelen and Boris are going to be standing. Roll a perception.
I will do.
Or did you already have one from before that was a...
Oh, yeah.
I want to start keeping same numbers. We're not like rolling.
I mean, I'll take my natural 20 for the 22. No, that was investigation, I think.
That was insight.
So, insight.
No. So perception. Go ahead and roll perception.
Perception, I get 17.
That as you look over and you can see Zelen and Boris kind of giving you a wave, you're waving back to them. People are cheering as you're being walked on to the pavilion.
And then sword on shield because I'm that guy.
Yeah, really. So all this, yay!
Hamming it up still, just raising the roof, all that. Yep.
Just to Zelen's right, there is an old lady that's standing right there, and you recognize her as being the lady doing the wash from Johann Street. That you walked right by, thought she was so safe looking, and then when you turned around, she had an arrow knocked ready, bow bent, and was going to shoot you. Is right next to Zelen.
They like that whole pull on your collar, like, oh, okay, yeah.
He starts making hand signals, like pointing, like with the palm of his hand, right over there. Look over that way. And Zelen's like, I know. She just told me to hush.
Do you? I don't recognize that woman.
No, you've never seen her. He just said how dangerous it was when he got to that cul-de-sac just off Johann Street, just how bad that place was.
Huh.
But she's talking about Larkin Silk. Everyone's walking on. And they line everything up. And he is announcing everyone the second day of competition, the majesty, the prestige of it all. And then it's time for the first shooters. And I just have them in order right here. So let me just go through and narrate this. The first shooters up are Larkin Silk and Sir Alan Farnsworth of Town Barony. And Larkin Silk rolls a 19.
Oh,
so that his first arrow is 1 off. That's 1 inch off. So he's at +1 overall. And his next one is, with the math, he is at 26. That's dead center.
Wow. And
his next arrow is at 25. So one arrow is an inch off middle, and the other two are dead on. Oh, I didn't even say it. They pushed the targets back 5 yards, and the actual number to hit, unless you miss the target, is increased as well.
So they were 30 feet yesterday, now they're 45?
They were... I think they were 35 yards, and now they're 40 yards. Yeah.
Okay.
They were
30 yards, now they're 35 yards?
I thought they were 35 yards, now they're 40 yards. I'll check my own
notes. We'll go with that.
But there were a number, and now there are 5 more number.
It is super important to me right now to know where these fictional hay bales are. I will not.
They are within your normal range.
Yeah.
And then Sir Alan Farnsworth, as he is shooting, his first arrow is
of the new New York Farnsworths?
Is a 23.
Oh, dang.
And his next arrow is...
I don't know, Alan.
Oh, a natural 1.
Ooh.
Oh.
He's at +5. He's at 6. He just missed. He's disqualified. And there's a general, ooh... But he's
from the guy that he hit.
From the guy at the far end.
He's Sir Alan Farnsworth. And so there's also kind of a, wow, like whoa. And he takes his last arrow, and with his mod.
He took another shot when he's disqualified?
Even so, it's just the
point of pride.
I got you. He takes his last
arrow. See
arrow.
how badly you screwed up.
Well, that's it. His other arrow was also dead center. So those two were touching right in the middle. He rolled a 23 and a 24, and the one missed the target altogether.
Poor guy.
But he's definitely disqualified.
Just kick his bow with a second shot?
I think, really. Something flicked his elbow. It was like, an
arrow.
Yeah.
That freaking goose.
Revenge. So obviously Larkin Silk has moved on to the final shooting round. And I missed one of the nobles. Sir Claude Colmer of Windsound Barony is also in it. So
Colmer?
Yeah, Sir Claude Colmer of Windsound Barony. That means he's from the very southern portion of Manhurst Duchy in the Confederation of Duchies. We're going to speed up the archery contest a little bit. That's going to take too long for me to do all the rolls. So I've made the rolls, except Jacob Treadston will make his in just a moment to see how they're doing. So the second set of shooters that come up is Sir Claude Colmer and Carmela Bowden. And Claude Colmer rolls at a +6, and Carmela is at +18. So she is out, and Sir Claude Colmer is in. The crowd does not seem...
You're saying this pluses. I thought that was like there are two hits. I was like, whoa, wait, she had a better to hit. What?
Yeah, the total number... So he's... Total distances away from center that he shot a 15, 19, and 24. That Sir Claude Colmer, his arrows were total... each arrow was a total amount of 6 inches off the middle. So that still puts him as defeating Carmela Bowden, who's 18. So she actually had a fairly wide spread. The next ones up are Jack Hawley and Gavin Rush.
And I'm on the side, woo, yeah, Jack, woo, yeah.
Jack. Yeah, then Gavin Rush shoots first, and he is at 6 inches over. So that's a pretty tight grouping.
Come on, Jack.
And Jack rolls a 17 to 25 and a 6.
Oh.
And Jack Hawley is eliminated.
No!
Yeah, your buddy's eliminated. So again, somebody shot him in the elbow with that.
They just crack under pressure.
That must be it. Let's see.
Because they're not nobles.
I mean, I'm shaking, and all I'm about to do is drop plastic on a table. So
Lucas Wolkin shoots first with the next group, and he also disqualifies himself, missing the target on one of his hits. So he's just out. And then, so at that point, shooting unopposed, Irina Radabal rolls a 21, a 22, and a 20. So she is at all dead middle. That she's actually just beat Larkin Silk.
I think we have a winner for the day. Yeah. So, and then Bolt gets up there.
Right. And then the next, if I skipped anyone, the next group is going to be Lady Shanta Morehouse and Bolt. And Lady Shanta Morehouse rolls a total of 9 inches over. And Bolt rolled a 28, 27, and a 20. And is at dead center, all zeros, just all in the middle. And then the last shooters are going to be Jared Sine, and I have his numbers all worked up. He shoots first, and he is at a +8 overall.
Okay.
So that means he rolled a 25, a 25, and a 12. So two were dead center.
That sounds like me yesterday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it almost is, exactly. And so your numbers.
22. 19.
Okay.
23.
Ooh. So that's fantastic.
Oh, good.
Numbers. So yeah, 19, you are one off.
Oh, good.
You just tied Larkin Silk.
Ooh. Oh, God. Okay, honestly, I couldn't have asked for better. That's awesome.
Yeah, so the only people that did better was Bolt and then Lady Shanta Morehouse. Not Lady Shanta Morehouse.
And they went against each other, didn't they?
It was Irina Radabal.
Okay.
Irina Radabal. No, they didn't shoot against each other yet. I said the wrong name. But so for tomorrow, and then they're all announced in the order of how poorly they did. So at the bottom of the stack is Sir Claude Colmer, and then the other bottom is Gavin Rush, and then from there it is. Yeah, the next two, Larkin Silk and Sir Jacob Treadstone at 1 inch off middle. And there's just they're kind of going wild.
A thunderous cheer.
And
now, looking at Larkin
Silk, he turns toward you.
Yep.
He smiles.
Oh, I smile back. Oh.
His smile goes away. No, actually, it doesn't. He does have this smile, like the kind of person that doesn't smile often, and when they do, you're both like elated, but also a little bit creeped out. That's the feeling you have right now that he's smiling at you. And then at the end of it, Irina Radabal at all dead center, 0, and tied for the first place for the second round of competition, Bolt at 0. And again, the place goes nuts.
Oh my gosh.
Before. So those will be the 6 that are into it. And again, it's going to back off to, it'll be a higher to hit, just to hit the target, and it's going to be backing off to 45 yards. Well done. You stuck
Oh
in
my
it.
gosh,
Yeah,
man.
that was really cool.
As soon as that 9 popped up, I was like, oh no. But I was like, oh wait, no. My pluses are good. My
Yeah,
pluses are good.
great pluses. Yeah, pinnacle shooter.
Oh, that was great.
So could you imagine if you had rolled a little better and were tying with Bolt?
That would have been insane.
Yeah, one.
Honestly, 1 up. If that 9 was just
1
a
up.
10.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah, just stepping back from that for a second, Irina Radabal's pluses are only at +4.
Oh, wow. She's
Yeah,
a
she
roller.
was
really
actually
lucky.
she was one of the marginal people that were like kind of the bottom of the queue when I put these competitors together. That she'll go into the shooting, but she's really not that good at that experience. And that she rolled modified 21, 22, and 20.
Reminds me of
with
the
that 4. So it was like, wow.
reminds me
Irina.
of the Australian competitive ice skater who got through like the Australian finals because everyone in front of him fell.
Yeah.
And then at the actual Olympics, he won the gold because everyone in front of him fell.
That is a miracle manifestor.
So your tactic is just to stay 10 feet behind the pack and wait for them to bunch
Right.
up. Yeah.
Okay, you've said her name like 3 times now. Irina
Radabau.
Radabau.
Radabaugh.
I've heard Rattlebomb and Rattleball.
What kind of sport does she do?
Indara bath bomb.
But no, yeah, I've this. I don't know why I might need them later, but I just have this whole list of archer names that just like if they ever need to come in handy, I just
For when you're building an army
Considering what
later.
you're doing, that's a really cool thing to do.
Irina Rattleballs. I was like, I'm gonna write it. It'll make sense later.
So the first person that greets you is Jack Hawley. He runs right over to you and he's shaking your hand. He's like, congratulations. Yeah, I'm sorry I got knocked out. The wind did this, did that. And he said, so whoever this Bolt guy is and Lark and Silk, you're right up there with those guys. That's where they're seeing you right now.
I appreciate that. I think the same thought has probably crossed their mind, at least from the glance that that Larkin shared with me. I'm sorry again, Jack. It's awful to see you out.
He's like, oh, that's okay. Let's get something to drink. And he's walking you over toward the side rail at the edge of the pavilion.
And I make eyes with Boris and Zelen to make sure that they see me going in the direction that I'm going in.
Acknowledged.
I'm watching Mr. Sage.
Okay, I was about to say, if you're watching him, I was going to have you do a different kind of perception.
I shepherd my flock.
As he takes his shot, and everybody kind of goes nuts like that, and you turn to look to see where Mr. Sage is, he's right next to you.
Oh, God!
And he says, little Zelen, you
Mr.
must come.
Sage.
What? There is an apothecary on Clyde Street. It's the Clyde Street corner. I want you to be there at 3 with your people.
We'll be there.
And then he just turns and goes back into the crowd. And the old lady right there, she just gives you a pat on the shoulder, and then she walks away too.
So I'm going to share that with Boris.
How quietly was he whispering?
Very, just
Okay,
right to her ear. Yeah.
As
I guess you should do a listen if you're trying to hear. You're being aware of your perception, right?
As much as there are like these little background characters that come back and play a bigger role later, I think the lady who was getting water at the well in the middle of Johann Street is my favorite.
Wrong. Second only to Morris Young.
Oh man, Morris Young, I am waiting for that to come back.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, no, that's a 5 on perception.
Okay, yeah. So then you would not have heard that.
I was too busy cheering drunkenly,
Um,
which is weird because I haven't had anything to drink.
So, but I am going to share with you
And you trust him?
100% with my
All right.
life.
As you are saying that to each other, you can see just crossing toward you right now is Jacob and that buddy of his, Jack Hawley. And they get to the rail at about the same time. And as you're standing right there, Jacob, there's no perception roll. You look, and this person right next to Zelen, who's just about 3 feet away from you, just smiles at you so pleasantly. And that's that lady that was going to kill you the other day.
And I smile too, and like, ma'am, hi, ma'am.
And she just says that you shot very well, Sir Jacob. And she's reaching across, but she can't quite reach that far. Like she wants to, like either pat your shoulder or pat you on the cheek. You're
Pinch
not sure.
my cheek, yeah.
Yeah.
So I lean in and I say, thank you, ma'am.
And she does that. She gives you a little pat on the cheek, and then she turns and she walks away.
Slaps me across the face like, don't be Larkin again.
So where do you guys go from here?
Drinks.
All right. So
Wait a minute. Don't you have to shoot again?
Tomorrow.
Oh,
Last day tomorrow. And also, I don't know, drinks or...
Have we seen
You're making me
Inda?
want to say Indar. Okay,
Have
Inda.
we seen Inda?
yeah, well, she was making announcements over to that side.
Yeah, I was hoping
So yeah,
that-
she's nearby.
Okay, all right.
She was paralleling...
Because I'd love to know if she's heard
Yang
anything
Bontil.
or if she found anything out, but I don't know if we can talk with her.
Yeah. I think now keeping up appearances just to like not immediately get back into business.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we want to beeline for her because
kind of circle in that direction.
Right.
Get a bit of something to drink, bit of something to eat. Yeah. Catch up with her. It's like.
And then,
all good.
So at when you guys are eating, drinking in one of these like kind of open air pavilion areas, and there's tables and chairs set up, she walks over just to presumably to congratulate you, Jacob, and she said, "That was incredible. I know the reputation of both," and she says it like she's italicizing it, of Bolt and Larkin Silk, and they are pinnacle archers. And that you're right up there with them. The one that surprises me even more is who is Irina Radabau, and where did she come from? But she just laughs about it. And then as she's like laughing that way, she said, "We're still interrogating him. There's more information we can get out of him. I'll try to catch up with you either tonight or tomorrow."
Good hunting.
Thank you. And congratulations again. And then she moves off and does other things. So you stick around here for a while, and then like in another hour, if you're walking up or riding horses up, if you're going to be heading toward Clyde Street and Clyde Street
to the
corner,
apothecary,
that you'd want to get there.
Here's what I'd like to do.
During that time eating, we update Jacob on what's going on.
Yeah.
No.
So
that lady tried to kill me. That lady could have killed me.
What, that sweet old lady?
She didn't try to kill you, or you would have been dead. She just threatened.
Was the arrow just knocked, or was the bow drawn?
Drawn.
That lady could have killed me.
All she had to do was relax her fingers.
Yeah.
What I'd like to do is start moving out of here when the crowd is moving out of here. Like, I don't want to make it obvious that we're leaving just as another performance starts, to try to give us a little bit of cover as we move toward Clyde Street and the apothecary.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Works for me.
So what's also being talked about now is, one, that they've never seen an archery contest that was so close, that there were like two people tied for the first place, tied just an inch off for the second, and then tied for third, even though it was definitely a further out spread, that they don't know where it's going to go. It could go with the top four people. It could be any one of them right up there at the top and winning this thing. So they'll see tomorrow. But they're also starting to talk about what they're calling the Melee Menagerie. And that seems to be the event that takes place in the pavilion the day after the archery contest. And there's apparently a fair amount of betting going on with whatever that thing is. But as time runs out, you guys go for horses?
Yeah. So are we hearing any details about the Melee Menagerie?
What is the Melee Menagerie?
Melee, close combat fighting, menagerie, like animals. A zoo. So it sounds like
it sounds like people have what's tantamount to a free for all of their trained or conjured animals.
I don't like this at all.
That they fight each other either to first blood or to the death.
So the trained animal part is like a little iffy, but like the conjured animals, that's fine. They're just gonna
pretend animals. I don't care about, but
these are all pretend animals.
So do a perception sign for hearing something.
A hear?
All of you.
Yeah.
Listen. Give me a listen.
Unnatural 23.
Oh, good.
So you stole all my luck.
As you're walking over to get whatever food you were getting to walk back to where those two were sitting, that you hear that there's heavy betting in favor of the Rhazia Wizards winning again this Melee Menagerie.
Oh, well, yeah.
And Jacob, what'd you roll?
12.
And then you're over getting a drink, and you also hear someone talking about that. Well, do you know that since there's no druids, that it's really difficult to get somebody who can train them to win. But I understand there's guys coming up from South Southland, one of the southern free baronies, and that they have some kind of a bear that they're training for this. So I wonder what that's going to be like. I haven't seen it yet. They've kept it hidden somewhere, but I do think that's the case. But the other guy's like, I'm not betting against the Rhazia Wizards. They win so often.
And I'll see if I can like kind of nudge my way into their conversation if they're close, if they're all sitting there at the bar having a drink. Just kind of lean in and just say, those Rhazia Wizards, and then they're always, what are they fighting with this year? And I ask them.
So go ahead and roll a deception just to see, or bluff. Which will you be doing?
Deception is deception.
Oh, yeah.
Deception, unnatural 20.
Oh, wow.
Nice!
Yeah,
17 plus 3, yeah.
You look like a drunk anybody to these guys. And you say, well, more than likely they'll do the same things they've done in the past. Some kind of form of a cat. I heard that they found some way to make their saber-toothed tiger like a dire saber-toothed tiger. So, I mean, it makes sense why they're going to win, but I think they're going to go for something like that.
Someone ought to put them in their place.
They really should. I'm hoping these guys that come from South Southland can do it, but I don't know. I wish we still had a druid here in the city.
Two. Just lean away and just walk off.
And they keep on going with their conversation. So you get back to where you're all sitting together and eating your food. And what was your role, Boris?
3.
Yeah. So Boris is chewing.
And I share.
I'm making sure nobody takes our table.
Loudly, so he can't hear anybody else.
Yeah, no one wants to come sit next to Boris because he's going.
So it seems as though this mealy menagerie is something that happens every single year for the last, 8-10 years.
This isn't a circus thing.
It's something that was been introduced to the circus, but it only happens here in Carnkeldley.
Oh.
That it is a very Carnkeldley specific something, and it's been enveloped into the ceremonies of the circus. If the circus wasn't here, it would probably still happen.
Interesting.
Just all on its own.
And I'll share everything I found out about Southland, South Southland, the bear, and the saber-toothed dyer.
Yeah, so how does this serve the Rhazia Tower? Because they're not doing this to entertain the
I wonder
people.
if they're looking for people who can conjure really powerful animals and are trying to recruit them.
Yeah, I wonder.
Well, if nothing else, with its interaction with the circus, it sounds like they're getting the circus acclimated to working with them as opposed to
the bear.
The bear.
Oh, that's where we already know of how much they meld and mash.
Then beyond that, it's a demonstration of power.
Yeah.
That yes, it entertains the masses, and the other half of bread is circuses. But with this, they can demonstrate, look how powerful we are. Not only can we do this stuff, we've got the guys to expend these kind of resources just on a whim.
Just for entertainment. Yeah. Well, they might also empty the tower more to come and cheer.
Yeah, it could be useful for us.
If it's their show.
If we try and, so that could give us a timing, try and get the attack to happen during the menagerie.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're not saying this all like out here where everybody can ever hear us.
But I think we're all thinking it.
Yeah.
This is the three of us at a table in the basement of y'all's house talking about it.
Nobody can hear us.
I've
got my thumb on my forehead to demonstrate I'm talking out of character. Can't you see that?
I, a Bravis, can't see interdimensionally.
So as this conversation is developing, you guys find yourself eventually back on your horses and re-entering the city.
Well, I probably picked you up and put you there.
No, I'm not actually drunk. It was a really good deception.
And you should be getting up into, it's the eastern side of the city, Clyde Street.
As soon as she mentions the apothecary, my eyes light up because oh yeah, I meant to talk to that guy exactly because that's who sent me here from Warland saying there's a really good apothecary in Carnkeldley that might be able to do whatnot with the poison and the glands.
And now they've been rotting for a few weeks.
And I'm going to share with Jacob and Boris who Mr. Sage, who I call Mr. Sage, but who
Beckett
he is
Reed.
and what he did for me as a child and how he helped me.
No
Seems like a good man.
Yeah, so why I feel like I can just completely trust him.
So you find yourself just before 3:00. You're at a street that right at the kind of the Y intersection of the street, and it's very narrow in this area. There is a house that looks like, if you could describe it, a happy house. That it is a lovely little domicile that you would picture being out in the country somewhere, but it's smack dab in the middle of this paved area of this street. And above it, there is a shingle.
So kind of a wedge in the Y or just off of one side?
Yeah, kind of a wedge in the Y. Like it's
neat.
in the middle
Oh,
of it.
the
That's
road
so
splits
cool.
around it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want that house.
Like a rock in a river.
Yeah, kind of like that. That's a neat image. So
the Warland Stone.
The Carnkeldley Stone.
The Carnkeldley Stone, yeah.
Maybe.
But no, is there any movement outside the house?
well, there's a shingle outside, and it reads that it's the mortar and pestle. And beyond that, there isn't anything else apart from the house itself.
So there's lots of other buildings and businesses around it, right?
Oh, yes.
So I don't want my horse right in front of this business.
Okay.
Because I don't want that advertisement that we're inside. So if one of the kids are around, I'll tell them to walk the horse away. If none of the kids are around, I'll tie the horse up in a business a few down.
Bob is with you guys right now.
Okay.
And
I was just honestly thinking about having him take the horses back up and we just walk back.
Because we're in the upper part of town too. We could just walk back.
Yeah, it's about halfway up on
Perfect.
the east side.
Yeah,
so
that's
it
good.
isn't
I just don't want the
far away.
horses out here like a big giant
Yeah, so let's
sign.
have Bob send the horses back to the stable then.
Perfect.
Okay. Then he said, "Will you be here for very long, my lord? Should I send one of the runners down to you?"
No, we'll be all right. Thank you.
And then he runs off. And you guys get to the door.
Do we knock on it?
Well, it's it's a business and we're not vampires. So
Are you
I
still
think
the
we can
dog?
just walk in.
Okay.
So
Why would you do that as opposed to...
Because
now, Victor made that sound effect with his mouth. That was so convincing.
Oh man, because I'm so like thinking like I'm not used to the mics not being on the table. Like I always try to not hit the table. It's just a thing in my head.
Yeah. What's your sound effect? Knock, knock, knock. Sounded
Rock
just
noise.
like
Door noise. There you go.
the hollow head.
All right.
And a voice inside says, "Come in."
So we go in?
Yes,
Because it is a business. You generally just
Yeah.
walk in. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised you knocked at all.
All right, but let's go in.
Yeah,
And
we go in.
as you're walking right in, you can see that the Beckett Reed, he's right there, looks up at you, and he has things kind of pushed to one side. It's a very small storefront, and he's just in the room just beyond that. And he says, Zelen, come back here quickly and get the water off the stove. And he's putting out some kind of little breads on the table.
I immediately do it.
Yeah, so you walk over, and it is every moment of this is like, oh, wow. It's like everything you're seeing.
Everything's so much smaller.
Is tripping, a new memory that that if you were to say, where is this kind of tea to steep, you go, and you'd open a drawer.
Right.
Because you lived here for about a week, and it just looked like a blur from your past. While he was working up with some other druids, what he had to do to make to get you back to
my grandmother.
Brian for the first
You
time.
remember all this, and you were here for a week. I've worked in the same building for 2 years, and I still get lost.
Yeah, but your
can't get
memory's
out.
garbage by your own admission.
This is true.
And then
I shut the door behind us.
as you walk in and move into that, so almost immediately, Mr. Sage and Zelen are getting the tea ready, setting these things out, and he even says things like, well, it's a little early for a tea, but I have things happening later in the day. And he sits everything down, it's there, and he says, please, Sir Kirsanov, Sir Treadstone, please have a seat. And then you're all seated, and he starts sipping his tea, and then he looks up at you, Zelen, and says, what shall we talk about?
Oh, there's so much to catch you up on, Mr. Sage.
You're here in the city, and things are moving and things are changing. No one else knows. Wow, very few people know that there is a druid left in this city.
Are you the last?
I'm the only. Yes, I'm the last. The others are dead. And I've had to stay underground. I spoke openly against the Rhazia Wizard some years ago, and they brought the full might of their destructive force against my order and against my circle. They don't know or didn't know that this house was where I lived. They didn't know who I was. So I opened an apothecary shop and have been running this apothecary. But they have no idea. If they did, they'd want to crush what I stand for and the magic that I wield.
We know the Rhazias can watch. They have a magic tool in their tower that allows them to spy on people.
We're aware of that, or I'm aware of that. And it's been a source of great consternation. And we've always had to find ways to try to work around it, to keep our numbers small, to keep ourselves as organized as we possibly can. And he says, now, gentlemen, and two people walk into the room, and he says, we are part of Steel Cloud. And as you see walking into the room, it's Larkin Silk, and it's Bolt. And Larkin Silk says, Jacob Treadstone, let me introduce to you Arnar Jan Sigger.
No! Come on! That is so cool! I'll do the outro now. Oh, man.
It'd be fun to do the outro. That was so cool!
I just wet myself.
Thank you for listening!
I paid all that off!
Did you in any way see that coming?
No!
See, and you were asking him so many specific questions, and he's like, not yet, not yet, not yet.
Oh my gosh, no, I had no idea. You probably didn't expect me to even go over and talk to him.
No, I
before the
didn't.
orgy
I didn't
contest.
at all. No, I didn't usually do that. That was great. You did.
Thank you for listening. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Empire's Edge. I hope you're enjoying this story as much as I am, and if you are, don't keep it to yourself. Tell your friends, family, and strangers on the street all about The Empire's Edge. And remember, you are able to support us on subscribestar.com/the-empires-edge.